If there's one team in the NBA that makes no sense to me, it's the Orlando Magic. Like, can someone tell me what their goal is right now? Can someone tell me what their front office is doing? Because it makes no sense to me. So the draft was yesterday, and the Orlando Magic are looking nice. They got the 6th pick and they have the 11th pick. And let me tell you who they get. They get Anthony Black, a bigger point guard, but still a guard, right? And then they draft Jett Howard, another guard. Wait, well that's not it. Let me tell you their roster right now. Let me tell you the point guards. Markelle Fultz, point guard, under contract this year. Jalen Suggs, under contract until 2026, point guard. Cole Anthony, point guard, under contract until 2025. What are we doing? They also have Michael Carter-Williams, which I had no idea that they had him. I thought he was out of the league. But they already have 3 good and young point guards. Cancel out Markelle Fultz. He's not that young anymore. But you just drafted Jalen Suggs 2 years ago. So what are you doing? Maybe I would see them drafting another forward. Like, I get you of Paolo and Franz. We need a backup. Like Cole, Markelle Fultz, and Jalen Suggs. That's a three-way rotation right there. You don't need any other point guards. Now, granted, I have heard that they might try and trade away Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. But so far in his career, Jalen Suggs, he's been a little bit injury prone. And he hasn't shown much. Like, his three-point ball is very mid to lower tier in the NBA for a point guard. His athleticism's good. He's not the best passer, not a very good rebounder. He's small. Cole Anthony, he's kind of the exact same player that Jalen Suggs is. Maybe a better jumper. But I just don't understand the Anthony Black pick, who's a bigger guard. Like, yeah, you could use Anthony Black if you're going to trade away Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. So you have to do that now. But I just don't know what teams are going to want to trade for those two. And then you pick Jett Howard. So you want another 3-way situation at point guard for a rotation? Like, who's going to be the starter and who's going to be the backup? Markelle Fultz has been showing flashes. He's been looking good. Orlando's been looking like a solid place for him. And then to talk about the other people on the roster for the Magic, they got Jonathan Isaac under contract until 2025. Man has played he played 10 games last season before he got injured again. That man's a liability. He's not going to do good in the NBA. He's just not. Your big bright spots are Franz and Paolo. You can build around them. But yet again, why didn't we do that in the draft? Why didn't we build around Paolo and Franz in the draft? Because you got no other forwards. Who's the other forward on the Magic? Chuma Okeke? That man has not played well. He has not played well. Like I said, Jonathan Isaac never plays. Wendell Carter's a big man. Bol Bol's a big man. They have nothing. And ever since the Magic parted ways with Dwight Howard, they've been a poverty franchise. They haven't been good. They've made it to in 2010 they made it to the conference finals. They had Dwight Howard, okay? Since they've only made it to the first round where they haven't done well. And they've had, let me see, 7 head coaches since Stan Van Gundy, or 6. And now you have Jamal Mosley, who his first year went 22-60. Horrible, but yet again, they were tanking that year. And then last year, I remember reports saying that the Magic might make a push to the playoffs. Their squad is good enough that they can make it to the playoffs. Paolo's such a generational type player that they can make it to the playoffs. And what do they end with? 34-48. 34-48. Not even close. They were not they were not competitive in the Eastern Conference at all. So I don't know. When is it going to be time to see if Jamal Mosley is really your franchise coach for your young players? I mean, he hasn't really shown that many instances of where he can be a good coach. Like I said, people were saying they would make the playoffs last year, and they weren't even close. But hey, let's look at the bright sides real quick. You got Paolo, who could very well be an all-star next year. You have Franz Wagner, who could also be an all-star next year. You have Bol, who has shown his bright spots. He's shown what he could do, what he was meant to do when he was originally drafted in the league, what he was originally meant to do when he was being recruited. Was he the number one recruit in his draft class? He was up there. He was top 5, but then he fell because of injuries. They didn't know how his frame would work in the NBA, but he's looking all right. He's been looking all right. You have Wendell Carter Jr. So basically, the bright spot in the Magic's roster is they're very young. But that's also not a great thing. You need veterans on your team to help push your young players so they can know what to expect in the NBA. You need those veterans when it comes to your first playoff experience to be able to tell you what they should be expecting and what the intensity is looking like. You have a very rookie-ish head coach who's not going to know, and none of your players have the experience. Franz never been to the playoffs. Paolo's never been to the playoffs. Bol went to the playoffs on the Nuggets, never played. Cole Anthony's never been to the playoffs. Wendell Carter, I don't think he's been to the playoffs. So your starting lineup isn't experienced at all. And they have no veterans on their team to help them. Granted, free agency hasn't started yet. It starts in a week. I think it starts end of June. So if I'm the Magic, I'm really looking forward to free agency and signing a good veteran type player. Maybe some more big men. Maybe some more forwards to lay off the load for Paolo and Franz because they're the only 2 right now that are playing. Because Jonathan Isaac, he's probably just going to get injured again. Chuma Okeke is not what you want coming off the bench. So, I don't know. The Magic they're not looking great right now. But the future's looking bright. The future is looking bright that I may add for the Magic. It's just a draft for me. I don't understand their draft picks. Maybe, with the 6th pick, you draft Anthony Black. But I still think you maybe could have gotten Anthony Black at 11 if we're being honest. And Jett Howard was such a stretch. He wasn't going to come off the board for at least another 10 picks. So, okay, let's do a hypothetical. 6th pick, you draft Anthony Black. I'm not mad if I'm a Magic fan. I'm not mad. But when do I get mad? I get mad when we draft Jett Howard at 11. We had the 6th and 11th pick, and we pick players who are the same position, and we already have an abundance of that position. It absolutely makes no sense. The only surefire bright spot for the Magic right now is their Summer League team. I will gladly watch their Summer League team this Summer League in a month. But what is that? What exactly is that saying? Granted, I thought that about the Thunder last year. I'm like, oh my gosh, their starting lineup is basically their Summer League team. And it was true, but yet the Thunder were super, super enjoyable to watch last season. They didn't make play-in. So, I mean, is that going to be the same outcome for the Magic? Basically, their starting lineup could play in Summer League. I doubt Franz isn't going to play. Paolo's not going to play in the Summer League. But I guess you can be excited for their 2 new rookies. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how Magic fans are feeling right now. Their front office, to me, is just not making the right moves.